Pickaxe.
5-day early access to every Cast Party episode, including Nocturne, ad-free episodes, behind-the-scenes info, exclusive bonus monthly one-shots, access to our community Discord where our community plays D&D games together, has game nights, and hosts so much more, all for less than the price of a single cup of coffee per month. Aren't convinced? Try out a free trial. 7 days free to check out the content that we offer only exclusively on our Patreon. Patreon.com/castparty. Support your favorite D&D podcast, all while getting some awesome perks. Patreon.com/castparty. See you there, cast and crew.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Cast Party. My name is Colin McManus, and I'll be your director for today. I'm joined by Ryan McManus.
Hi, Ryan McManus playing Bjorg Jorgens in the Jewel of the Portrait.
Anna Brisbane.
Anna Brisbane playing Lenore DeVere, Chaos Fairy, excited to push all the buttons.
Nigel Deacon.
Hiya, I'm Nigel, playing Jackal Campman, the leopard loner striving for companionship and control.
Vince Perino.
Tevin, the mechanism of discovery, really hoping that Lenore doesn't push all of his buttons.
Raquel Skellington.
Hi, everybody. I'm Raquel Skellington. I play Poppy, the tender-hearted giant.
And Luis Carrazzo.
Hey everybody, I'm Luis. I play Santos, the Gate Guard Glavinator. The Gate Guard Glavinator. He might be gay.
Let's talk about what happened last time. We started with Jackal sitting in his chair in the A-17 prison cell where his bicep was pierced by an invisible needle. He ended up dreaming of finding a fossilized egg in the desert. In the morning, this egg was taken by his tent mate. While trying to get it back, he punched the thief before being hit himself. And with the impact, he found himself in a room that looked like the prison cell, but had magic runes on the walls, shifting floor tiles, and a metallic being that then too punched him. He awoke in the morning, back in his cell, with all of his clothes fixed and ready. You all met up in the morning for a plethora of muffins, but before that, Bjorg disguised himself to look much older to prank Lenore. He discussed with her his interactions with Virgil and Dredd the night before and how they're looking for her. When you all met up, Santos explained to you what he and Linnea had discussed last night, that she had seen the symbol on your hands before, and he knew a way to get more information. Linnea set up a meeting with Chana and sent you off to the spa. You entered and made your way to the domed room where Chana began this ritual. She diluted this strong powder from an astral bloom before soaking towels in it and putting them all atop your foreheads, save for Poppy, who tried to meditate without this assistive substance. As the lights went out around you, the towels showed spots of bright light atop your foreheads as Chana ignited the bowl in the center of the room. You all focused on the sparks coming from the powder, bursting until they turned to stars in space. Floating in the cosmos, you watched as the stars themselves crafted the symbol on each of your hands. The circle in the bottom of the S shape, as you watched it, it burst with a bright light, revealing 7 symbols of varying animals. You watched as 6 of them etched onto orbitals, the ones you see floating above Icaria each day. The Wolverine left without an orbital to rest upon. You watched as this central symbol went out like a light. A moment later, the scorpion glowed a black color, then the butterfly a fiery orange. Then you each saw the orbital with the and explode in the night sky, Ilos bursting once more. And you all began to fall from space towards Icaria as a wave of adrenaline hit each of you. Now, you have all made your wisdom saving throws. That is except for Santos. We had 3 nat 1s.
Oh my god, you're
I forgot.
Shit.
Oh my god, that's right.
A 10 and a 14 from the others. And so the scene is set. The question is, Jack, with a 14, you think you passed?
Yeah. Yep. No.
You indeed did pass. Jack, you begin falling from space towards Icaria as this shock wave from the explosion of Ilos' orbital hits you. And as it does, you see in your mind a vision, and it feels very real and somehow very familiar to you. It's of you. You're grabbing an envelope from a wooden table. It's sealed with a beautiful golden seal. Your hands, skin, and flesh once again. They grab the envelope and open it up. It's a long letter, and in this vision, the words are jumbled in many cases, but in a large font at the bottom, you read, "Congratulations, we'll see you in the fall." From across the room, you hear the sound of a lighter click to ignite. Looking over, you see a woman smiling at you. She holds a small cupcake and lights a single candle atop of it. "We're gonna make this work, Jack." She begins to smile and tears start forming in her eyes. Blood is pumping strong. Reading this letter, you feel the happiness from this vision. It's warm, it's comforting, even through the adrenaline that you're feeling. You embrace it until the whole building around you starts to fall away piece by piece, until the floor and you too start falling again, continuing your fall to Ikaria. As does Bjorg. You failed. Bjorg, you remember standing in a pretty dull room. There's not enough light in here. The overhead lights above, 3 of the 5 are burnt out. You watch as your very pale, no longer red hands are cooking atop a device that's producing a constant flame. You keep placing a liquidy goop into a hot pan that flattens out as it cooks. Flip it, and as it gets nice and toasty brown on either side, you remove it from the heat and you start forming 2 small stacks on 2 mismatched plates to your left. There's a bottle labeled maple syrup sitting right beside them. You bring these plates over to a small table where 2 chairs are placed across from each other. On the way to the table, however, there's a sudden loud spark that jolts you, just like this explosion. You reflexively jump and drop both of the plates. They shatter onto the ground. Across the room, you see a rectangular device connected to the wall is covered with duct tape and shoddy wiring. It has caught fire and started to beep as water begins spraying from the ceiling out of rusty metal pipes. Your adrenaline spikes as you hear the spark, and as your heart beats in anger, you too continue your fall towards Ikaria. Poppy, you also failed this check. You remember it being late at night, sitting in the passenger seat of a car. Inside is a bit smoky. Car is off and no lights are on around you. From the driver's seat, you hear a man say, "It's time. Don't fuck this up again." You remember getting out of the car and being hit with a cold gust of wind, the cold hitting your bare face as you walk to the front of a closed down chicken shop nearby. It's very dark here, but as you get closer, the front window slides open slightly as you approach. You move close enough just to toss a small bag that fits in your hand through the opening. You turned back towards the car the second the bag left your hand. As you kept moving towards the car, the light went on outside the chicken shop, illuminating you in the darkness. Starting to run for the car, it turns on and quickly takes off down the street without you. Behind you, another car engine loudly revs as you started running down this empty street. The car behind you continues to rev its engine. It's avoiding parked cars as it tries to run into you. You ran into a nearby alley and heard the car slam on its brakes behind you. You rushed to find an escape and pulled at the alley's only door. You pulled and pulled, but it was locked. Turn towards the assailants, but only remember the crack of the bat against your ribs. Falling to the ground, you flash to falling towards Ikaria. Tevin, you also failed. You are waiting just inside the door to Alkin Family Mechanics, the mechanic shop. You are standing silently, trying not to make a noise. You see your brother Desmond at the front door, holding it open as he's speaking with the city guard of Twin Rivers. "Wonderful. So sorry for the confusion. I am glad it was all a misunderstanding." You remember hearing the gate open and close. Desmond continuing to smile towards the guards until it closes completely. Desmond then walks inside and his demeanor changes instantly. He stops and slowly looks over to you. "You will not fail me again, Tevin. You put our freedom at risk because of your incompetence. Now go, take Pickles and put him in the stables. Wash yourself off." He continues into the shop, visibly angry as you go towards the door. You see your hand reach out to the doorknob, and in this moment, you see flesh. It's a bit dirty, and you can see drying blood in between your fingers as you grasp the doorknob. This adrenaline rushes, and that same adrenaline hits your mechanical body as it gets continually pulled towards Ikaria. And for our last nat one, Lenore. Lenore, you remember being dressed up at a ball, wearing a fancy gown, flying through the air as you smile and move through a crowd of people. You see people of all kinds, and this place feels so different, like magical in nature. You see atop the stage, there are all these flames of different colors moving and dancing through the air, creating beautiful patterns for people to watch. Above, the chandeliers are living creatures. They're jellyfish-like. They give off light, but also move through the air like they're underwater. Moving through the crowd, you are eyeing a particular balcony above the ballroom. It's decorated with some living vines that sway to the music being played by the band. And as you are eyeing this balcony, you accidentally bump into the backside of a large centaur who turns towards you. Oh, my apologies. You aren't Lady Merrick. Guards! Seeing this centaur and in turn, the entire ballroom turn on you, this adrenaline rushes and you begin flying through the crowd trying to escape. You were hit out of the air by someone throwing a plate at you. Falling towards the ballroom floor, it turns to space beneath you, and you continue following towards Ikaria. Finally, Santos. You didn't have to roll this wisdom saving throw, because you automatically failed this save.
Yay.
Santos, Ilos explodes in front of you once again, and you begin this fall just like the others towards Ikaria. You feel the same adrenaline as the others, but with you, it's different. There's a familiar darkness that comes with it. The feeling that anything can go wrong at any time. Your eyes blank as you feel yourself in a state just like this. Fearful and dark, heart beating out of your chest, not knowing what's going on in your surroundings. A feeling you've felt many times before. A loud shattering of glass can be heard echoing. You jolt awake off of a cold, hard floor you were lying on, heart beating loudly. You find yourself in mostly darkness, though a bit of moonlight comes in from the remains of a glass ceiling overhead. The air is stale, thick with dust. It smells like mildew. You find yourself in an abandoned shopping mall. You have tucked yourself into a corner near a busted open ATM where you had fallen asleep. It is dark, and after that loud shattering of glass that echoes, it's silent throughout the mall.
If I just heard a loud shattering of glass, I immediately get up and start looking around for what caused that.
You get up. The silence around you. You aren't certain which direction this glass came from, but you start to move. Around you, there are a few stores nearby, an old department store. It's now just shelving and falling ceiling tiles, an old tech store, a bunch of stock still here that no one bothered to come get, a nearby pretzel place that smells like something was left to rot. You're on the first floor of this mall, and there's a second floor just above, which overhangs looking down upon the debris that just fills this place. It's silent, but it's broken. This constant rhythmic dripping. It's all you can hear, just liquid dropping to the ground.
Something's wrong. Something is very wrong here, and I don't trust any of this. Nothing that I see, nothing that I hear, none of this is real. And I start to go back to where I came to, and I start to retrace my steps. And instead of going where I just went, I go to the shattered glass and the moonlight that spills through it. No, there's something is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. This isn't real. This isn't real. I go back to the beginning and I retrace my steps and I try to do it again. And I pick a different place to go this time because this isn't real. And I call out into the night, "Who's there? Stop following me!"
The dripping stops. You couldn't quite hear where it was coming from, but is gone now. You're back where you just awoke. You look at the things you have, and it's not much. You notice a folded up piece of paper on the ground, and then you hear another loud shattering of glass, but this time you hear which direction it came from.
I'm grabbing that piece of paper and I'm running towards that sound. I start moving towards the sound because I can finally pinpoint something, and there's a path that at least feels tangible. And as I start running, I know I start feeling like there's something behind me, because every time I start running towards something, I feel like I'm also running away from something else. So it is staggered. It is stilted. I stop. I look over my shoulder to double check if something is actually there. I double back, retrace my steps, go a slightly different way, hide behind a corner, all the while still trying to keep moving towards where I think I know I heard this sound.
As you're moving, the darkness dances on the walls, shadows appearing in areas already devoid of light. But no matter which direction you turn, when you see something, you try to focus on it, then it's gone until something else moves in your periphery. But whenever you focus on it, there's nothing. Your feet crunch over broken glass, and you continue to move through this corridor, and then suddenly there's a loud crash of glass just behind you.
I duck, and I start to turn to see if there's anything to be seen.
The window to the clothing boutique that you just passed, just behind you, is shattered and on the ground. Inside the display window, you see a mannequin leaning against the wall, its face having no features yet looking right at you. Just as you make eye contact, a voice is heard, echoing through the corridors, off the ceilings and walls, and it penetrates deep into your ears, making its way inside your head like it belongs there. Run.
I approach the mannequin as though I know that that's where the voice is coming from. And I get face to face with this mannequin, staring into whatever eye holes it has. And I hit it. And then I hit it again and again and again and again. Get out of my head. Get out of my head. Or I will kill you.
The head pops off the body. It falls to the ground as you continue. At one point, you are punching so hard you don't even notice you cut yourself on part of the broken window. Blood starts running down your forearm, but you continue to punch, and you just continue to hear, "Run, just run, away."
I start running.
You start running through the empty halls. You focus on the way in front of you. There's still these shadows moving along the walls and ceiling. They feel like they're closing in on you as you run, and you just keep on hearing, "Away, run away." And these words echo in your mind as that darkness continues to close in.
I open the piece of paper that's in my hands. What kind of paper is it?
Printer paper.
It's a printed photo of somebody unrecognizable of me from what feels like a long time ago, smiling with somebody else. And I stop. If there is moonlight through shattered glass, I will approach that to get a better look at this picture.
How many times have you looked at this photo?
Countless times. It has smudges of my dirty fingers on the paper. It's crinkled up. I folded it up into a tiny piece and unfolded it again and again and again. I've crushed it. I've tried to smooth it out. Crushed it again, tried to smooth it out. I keep trying to tear it apart, and then I keep trying to fix the tearing that I did.
You see all of these physical memories. It's what they are. It's these folds. It's every time you've closed it or opened it. It's like showing you what you've felt over the past weeks, months, however long you've had it. As you're looking at it, one drop of blood goes from your forearm and touches the side of the paper. One more memory added. You look into this woman's eyes, And the same voice you heard just previously, you hear it again, but this time it's coming from inside you. Together.
But you know, just like I know, that's a lie. Just get out of my head. Just let me go. None of this is real anyway. Giving up, I lay down on the ground and I stare up. Through the beam of that moonlight that's creating a pool all around me, I find the source of my bleeding, the wound that I have from whatever shattered glass. And I dig my fingers into it.
It's painful, but you continue to just look up at that moonlight.
Good. This feels right. And I dig deeper.
Your heart continues beating, and it's beating fast, like your entire body's shaking with this adrenaline. And looking up at the moonlight, it almost blinds you for a moment. It's so dark here. You hear one last time, "Run away." And just at that moment, the moonlight bathing you, your heart beating over and over, louder and louder. All of a sudden, you feel gravity take hold as you're looking up at the explosion of Ilos in the sky, continuing your fall from space. All of your visions come to. You all see yourself falling this last 100 feet, watching the ground of Icaria come closer and closer until impact. You hit the ground and this wave of force jolts into you. It is pain, but it's a split second of it, stopping you in your tracks. As you're all able to breathe again, you open your eyes and find yourselves with Chana, the light from the central flame starting to go out, all of your hearts still pumping. She stops her humming. That reverberation takes a moment to stop bouncing off the walls before it is quiet once more.
P.O. falls onto his back, the bowler hat falling off of his head. And he's going to take his two hands and just cover his face, holding the cloth on top of his forehead and just pressuring it close. And while I gather my surroundings and figure out what the fuck just happened, I would like to cast Ibiogify, Identify, on the cloth. I can choose one object that I can touch throughout the casting of the spell, which is 1 minute, so I would have been in contact with it the whole time. If it's a magic item or some other magic-imbued object, I learn its properties, how to use them, whether it requires attunement, and how many charges it has, if any. I also learn whether any spells are affecting the item and what they are. If the item was created by a spell, I learn which spell created it. I'm just more so trying to figure out what caused that.
This is not a magic item per se. It is, however, a magic imbued object. You feel that there is an essence of magic to it, but as you are trying to figure out where it comes from, it feels natural. Chana called this the powder from the astral bloom, and you watched everything else she did to it. This does not have any illusory magic. It's not like this created illusions in your mind. I am going to tell you one more thing. It feels divine in nature.
The intention behind Bjorg casting a spell on the cloth was to make sure that this isn't something that someone forced him to see, and this is something that he was supposed to see. That he either has seen before, he is supposed to see in the future. This is directly related to us, so that I know that whatever everyone else saw is also directly related to them and their person. And Bjorg lays there.
I am sat up straight, almost panting, eyes bugged and mouth just like dropped and staring at, just looking around, real fast at everybody else's faces and just kind of trying to figure out what everyone else has just experienced, how they're feeling.
Poppy takes apart her 2 hands, rubs her temples, and goes, "See, I don't need drugs to have a bad trip. So much for relaxation."
I had been laying down throughout all of that, and I just like quickly jump up and start like walking towards like the edge of the room just to kind of like clear my head. Chana, what the hell was that? What was that supposed to show us? I haven't removed the cloth, but the cloth is like getting a little bit more wet than it was. Jack is like trying to like just adjust it and is clearly like rubbing his eyes.
You were deep in trance. Isn't that what you wanted?
I don't know what I wanted, but I don't think I wanted to see that. I'm confused about our situation, and I'm confused about what I'm feeling. I don't know why I feel the way that I do. I don't know how I'm feeling, and I don't understand how this was supposed to show us anything about what's going on.
She told us we weren't supposed to get answers.
Were we supposed to change in our dreams? Tevin's just holding his hand up to the light source, just trying to see if he can find that skin that he saw before.
Change into what?
I believe I was like you.
A fairy?
Alive?
My hand was different.
Whose hand here did it look most like?
Like you.
Like Lenore?
It seemed like my hand was close to yours,
Whoa.
but soft and the same color.
What did you do with that hand?
I don't know. I think I might have done something bad.
Hearing that, I shake my head and I just start heading towards the door. I need some air that it doesn't smell like this. And he just walks out. Like, he's not looking at anyone. He like throws the cloth on the ground as he walks out.
Bjorg is going to saunter to his feet and just leave the rag draped over the pool and follow Jack out.
Okay, thanks for seeing us so early. Sorry, I didn't put the bye.
Poppy gets up really slowly, doesn't really say much, looks Chana in the eye with this like knowing glance, like, I know what you got us to see. Nods and leaves the room.
Santos has already taken off the blindfold thing, whatever that garment was that was over our eyes, and has been listening and watching everyone else, kind of playing back as things were unfolding, half present to what continued to unfold and half playing back what just happened in his mind. Playing back what Poppy said in the beginning, playing back the first time that Jack got up and approached Chana asking what the heck this was. Slowly starts to get up and looks around, and I think, Tevin, you're still in the room. You haven't left yet, have you?
No, I'm still kind of just looking at my hand and whatever light source is in the room.
I go up to Tevin. While you are examining your hand, I actually take it in mine. And I look at you. Tevin, do you think any of this here right now, does this feel real to you?
After that, I'm not positive if I know what is real. I'm afraid if that was real, then I might have done something that maybe I would not feel good about. Regret?
I squeeze your hand with one hand and I tap on your chest with another. What does it sound like?
It sounds metallic for sure, slightly hollow, but there is substance in there. Not as hollow as you would think it would be, but enough to give a little bit of that reverberation back.
I tap on it again more slowly and look back in your eyes. Tevin, do you think I'm real?
I'd like to take my other hand and put it on his chest. If your heartbeat is real, then yes, I think you are here. and this is not a nightmare.
Okay. I'll step away from you.
Before you do, I want to pull on you a little bit as you're walking, as you're pulling away.
I feel that pull and it stops me like in my tracks, and then I actually don't resist it. It stops me and I let myself get pulled back to you.
I'm going to take that hand that was on your chest and put it on top of your hand that I'm holding to kind of cup yours. Am I real to you?
I want to say that you're real, Tevin, but I don't know if I know if any of this is. I think whether you're real or not, you feel very kind. And right now, I'll take that, real or fake or anything else.
I feel as if I want to help you.
I feel the same way about you.
Then let's help one another.
Okay.
Hopefully we can prove to each other that everything here is real indeed.
I hope the others are okay. That was really fucked up. I start to walk away again like I did before. I was gonna head to Chana. And now I'm not. I instead tap you one more time. And I walk out.
Before I walk out behind you, I just want to go up to Chana, hand her back the cloth with both my hands. Before I take my leave, is there any chance I could take more of that for the future?
I'm sorry. You would need to learn how to prepare it. In its powder form, it is extremely strong and volatile. If you thought what you experienced just now was a lot, I can't say what you'd see in its full form. Though you can teach yourself to meditate, it doesn't have to be just using this.
Then meditation is key. I'll give a really rigid bow and start to walk out.
1 second. You all had a very strong first experience. Sometimes meditation can feel very real. Sometimes people get lost and don't know what is right, what is wrong, what is truly here, and what is just in their minds. Keep an eye on him. And if you ever need help, she holds out her hand to drop something to you.
I'll hold one hand out.
She drops a very small tack into your hand, and she holds up one of her own. Meditation, it can play with your emotions, your perception, but this, she holds up her palm. It can't fake pain. And she pierces her palm, and you can see a bunch of small little spots where she's done this many times before. This is a good check.
Just cup it in his hand and keep it in front of him. Turns back around to start walking out and then stops right at the doorway. Will this also help me learn right from wrong? How does one know what truly is right?
That's an age-old question. Is there right? Is there wrong? Is it the law? Is it what you feel inside? Or is right and wrong and sin and faithfulness different for everyone? If you want to truly find out, I suggest you look into Necros, the sinner.
Slight nod as he looks over his shoulder and walks out the door.
That was a lot for me, and I wasn't even on something. Usually, when they put you on something, you're supposed to have a little bit more of a guide, but I guess the sky was our guide?
That was weird. I don't know what that was.
Whatever it was completely natural. There was no magic imbued in it at all. I checked.
No magic.
Nothing. I'm curious at the substance and also curious at what it revealed to me. There's too many questions and I don't know where to start.
Can we talk about this before we go?
As we have an important meeting, so I feel like we best get our emotions out.
Yes, we should.
Before we do, would you all please do me one favor?
Yeah?
Could you all hold your hands out in a circle for me?
I hold out my hand.
I do too.
I'm going to hold mine out, and with my free hand, I'm going to poke my hand with the tack.
Oh, Tevin, why?
Real. I'm going to look to everybody.
Oh no, I'm okay, sweetheart.
Yes, I'll pass. Thank you.
Whoever leaves their hand out in the circle, I will give a light tap to.
Santos has his hand out and hasn't stopped looking at you.
I'm not even in the circle. I walked out and I walked away and just kind of sat on the curb. I raised my fist and the bandages have like fallen off and like you can see his knuckles. I got you covered, pal. I know I'm here.
I'll just tap Santos's hand and see his reaction.
It hurts a little bit, I bet. I wince.
Real. Take that tack and put it into my little chest compartment.
I think we should address how we're all coming down. So what I think's really important is to make sure, as Tevin was doing, just to make sure we're in reality. Just deep breaths, relax your shoulders. Things like this happen. That kind of meditation is important. It's driven by adrenaline. It activates us by causing us to feel something, whether that be, a good adrenaline or a bad adrenaline. And from what I'm getting, I think all of us had a bad time.
And you went through the same thing, even without this stuff?
I went through the same thing, even without the stuff. Proves you don't need, basically, an accelerant.
So what was the stuff even for?
I think it's for people who are, no offense to you guys, not really apt in getting in touch with one's inner self.
Don't you say you meditate every single night?
I don't sleep.
There it is.
Whatever each of us saw, we were meant to see for a specific reason. There's no doubt in my mind that Chana guided us in a way that jogged our memories. But perhaps instead of seeing what we wanted to see, we saw what we needed to see.
Was that a real memory?
Oh, my future looks very interesting, and I need to really, really get on top of things because I'm starting fires here and there, and it's probably all your fault that I opened the suit jacket pocket and my arm just dives into my pocket. Isn't that right? Yes. I have to work on you. Yes, I do. And then I pull it back out.
Bjorg, how do you know it's your future?
I was just about to ask.
There was a lot more technology than I'm used to. Didn't look great, but nothing I know how to build.
Do the rest of you think that you saw your future?
I thought it felt like a dream world. It was a weird place.
Did you see your future, Jack?
I don't think so.
Hopeful future?
I think it's the past. This was good. I saw something great. But now it's not here. Now I don't know what it is. It's the first time I felt really loved, and I don't know why I don't feel that now. I don't know. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
I quietly head towards where Jackal is, and I do look back at Poppy because I know what I'm doing right now is paying forward what I feel like was done for me. And I just sit next to Jackal, and I just put my hand on your shoulder, and I just sit there. And I do say one thing. Hey, Jack, let's just not talk. Let's just sit here and not talk about any of that. How's that?
And I reach up and I put my hand over his. The fur is a little bit wet, and if you look at his face, you can see that like there are lines of tears going down in the fur, and just nod.
I'll give him a squeeze, and I will look over my shoulder over at Poppy, and I will, as delicately and subtly as possible, just give a little thumbs up. And then I sit there silently with Jackal.
Well, I was at a crazy fancy party, and there were these like jellyfish lights, and there were vines dancing, and then there was this centaur, and he was mad at me, and someone threw a plate at me.
See, that's your future.
Oh.
Did they say anything to you? Did they say why they were throwing the plate?
They were like, "You're not Lady Merrick."
Lady Merrick.
That sounds fancy.
Yeah, I don't know, I wasn't supposed to be there or something. But yeah, it was like a crazy world. It was all colorful and magical, and like the plants and were alive, and I saw creatures I'd never seen before. It didn't feel like I'd been there before.
See, it's your future.
Maybe.
Were you able to dodge those plates?
There was only one plate, and I didn't see it coming.
So you didn't dodge it?
No, I got hit and I fell. And then I was falling through space.
Then it's definitely a memory of something real, because that tracks to what I've seen you do.
You've seen me get hit with a plate?
Not a plate.
We saw you get hit by a giant bramble thing.
There were vines there, but they didn't attack me.
Well, if we find them, you point them out to us, and we'll go give them a little talking to.
Okay,
I don't like people picking on you.
thank you.
While everyone's talking to Lenore, Poppy kind of turns and tries to walk away a little bit and looks down her shirt to see if there's any remnants of her vision upon her actual physical body.
This is your character decision. You can decide if it's scarred or not.
Ooh,
Oh,
yes.
shit.
Yes, it did. Unbeknownst to everybody, Poppy takes her robe and she has bandages around her chest, but looks down and sees purple and just tucks everything back and ignores it. And she walks back.
Is everyone okay? Just simple yes or no. Is everyone fit as a fiddle?
I feel fit.
I nod.
I'm here, aren't I?
Likewise,
Well oiled.
are we all ready for a very big, important meeting?
No.
Oh, great. No.
What is this meeting about? I wasn't there last night.
Santos has to give a very important report to his boss, I assume, and we're going to try to not get Lenore arrested.
Be prepared to shoot if needed.
No shooting.
No shooting.
I'm ready.
We'll have a code word for that. We should think of that just in case, though.
Lenore, you have those documents, right? That give you permission to be here?
You're welcome.
Yep, thank you. Did I not thank you before?
I don't remember. I just like hearing it again.
I think we should have a hand signal. I think it's more subtle than perhaps a word. Poppy puts her hand behind her like this. So this motion, she opens her fingers and curls them again like that, making kind of like an open-fisted 5. Behind your back means it's time to either run away or start shooting.
Noted. Tevin, if you think of it, it's like when your hand is closed, that is your gun not shooting. When it's open, that is the fire nozzle. That's the burst, the pew, the eruption. Shoot.
Pew, pew, pew.
I think we can make this work.
I'm sure that we're gonna be fine. I mean, it's Nightshade. They're not gonna attack us on sight.
No, they'll just arrest us.
I don't do good in jail.
You been to jail?
No. Are we gonna get on our way?
Nightshade.
This is waiting.
Who am I saying? Where did I get these papers?
Aren't they perfectly legal documents?
Yep, of
Mhm.
course.
Yeah, they're perfectly legal, and where did I get them? This place got a DMV or what?
I think what you should say is that you got a sponsor from a wealthy trader, someone that's high up but didn't want to be named, and they decided to sponsor you.
You can name me.
No, wealthy.
I have gold.
Not someone who who sleeps on the street.
I don't sleep on the street.
The only reason you don't sleep on the street is because you keep renting rooms.
They're nice rooms.
So, someone sponsored me? Is that a thing? People can just sponsor you and you become legal here? What is that?
Yep.
Huh?
Absolutely. If you can pay enough, then you can gain citizenship to most countries.
Perhaps we say my brother hired you.
Then you have a permanent residence. You can take your mail and send it to Tevin's place.
Are we just making up laws?
That sounds legal, right?
We're making up laws of this place. I don't.
I don't get mail because I don't have a legal residence, Jack.
So you are homeless, is what you're saying?
Not quite.
What wealthy man is homeless?
I'll walk up to Lenore. Can I take a look at that document? I just want to check something.
I hand it to you.
I'll open it, and I want to see if I can... who signed it? Like, there's got to be some official signature or something here.
This does not have a specific signature on it. It actually has what looks to be like a sigil. This is likely something that Bjorg had come into contact with, so he was able to create that sigil from memory. You would know that to have papers like these ones, she would have needed to be sponsored by one of the members of the patio. And you know the patio to be the chairs of the city, like the council.
They look legit, right?
Yep, and when you have something that's legit, then you don't need to answer questions, because if they have questions, they don't got to ask us, they ask them.
But I got all the answers to the questions just now. We just figured it out.
Just take it from me. You never want to give more info to guards than they need you to. They will use it against you, so don't give them any more than what they ask for.
This right here does all the talking, and I'll hold up that document.
All right.
And
Yeah. Got it. Play it cool.
Yeah, play it cool. And I'm going to give you, I don't know why I'm feeling like picking on you, but I'm going to put my hand around you and my arm comes around you and I yeah after every yeah that you yeah and keep yaying while you keep yaying. Yeah. And then I just squeeze and I almost noogie, but not really. Just pat your head. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have the impulse too. It's almost as if I'm going to pick you up and put you on my shoulders. And then I stop because I don't know where that came from. And I start walking towards our meeting point.
Following right behind.
You guys head over to the building that Officer Darian's office is in, and you're able to enter into the building and you move towards the office. You come up to his door and it is currently closed, but you can tell there's a light coming from inside.
I put my hand on the door handle and I look back to everybody else, give a nod, but I also pause. Are we ready?
I nod furiously.
My hand is tucked ever so graciously in my suit jacket pocket, just in case.
I pull my hand bandages extra tight now that they're back wrapped on.
Once I've gotten some sort of affirmation from everybody, then I give one more confirmation nod to the group, and I turn the knob, and I open it.
Walking into the room, you see Officer Darian is not here. Only Carmina is in his office right now. She's seated at the desk, flipping a notebook, and looks up as you walk in. Santos has seen her before, but the others have not. She has the same dark purple suit on you have seen her in previously, Santos, along with that yellow undershirt, her hair pulled back between her horns, very nice and blue. Santos, welcome. And you have brought the others. Wonderful. Come in.
I walk in, trying to mask my surprise.
Good morning. I walk in. I try to have such good posture because she's in a cool suit, so I try to look all professional.
Good morning. I apologize there aren't more seats. I wasn't sure if you all were coming. Let's fix that, shall we? Please follow me. She does a slight nod and brings you to the other door in this office that leads to the back room. Santos, this is the door you initially saw her come out of when you met her for the first time. She opens it and walks in, leaving the door open for you all to follow.
I start to walk through and I will turn my head and I will say to the group, that's Carmina. She's basically my boss's boss.
She looks cool.
And as you all begin moving through the doorway, we're going to see what's on the other side in our next episode. Because for today, that's a wrap.
Woo!
Thank you all so much for listening. Run on over to patreon.com/castparty and get access to behind the scenes. It's a hilarious little show we do every episode where we talk about what happened, some conspiracy theories, hints into the campaign and our characters, and of course, other completely ridiculous conversations that have absolutely nothing to do with the episode. That's patreon.com/castparty. Thank you all for your support. Thank you for listening, and thank you for coming back next episode, which drops in just 2 weeks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
So, Chana has given me the list of things to do, and then I can sit with her again for more memories. I need to find a new guy and deliver him fresh towels to the crystal baths. What are baths? I am to go to Anne to restock salves in the apothecary, but I first must go to Dubward, who needs help washing the brushes for the horses in the stables. Does Pickles need to be brushed? I should ask Saint E. Love. He was feeding the horses, so he must know a lot. Eric 5 does need help heating up the stones in the steam room. I am to make him mad, and it will heat the stones. Forerunner received a paper cut organizing scrolls in the waiting room. I am supposed to be organizing them alphabetically. I don't know what that means. On the way, I should bring Heather a lavender from the herb garden for the aromatherapy room. I need to pick the best smelling lavender. Isuik needs me to help him scrub moss off the stones at the hot spring. I am also to avoid Jesky Fire and the other gnomes. They never leave the hot springs and are hooligans? I believe that is how you say that word. Jonas needs my help to polish the enchanted mirrors in the locker room. So good until I can see myself in them. How will I know where to clean if my reflections keep getting in the way? Kaylee asked me to clean up after the fairy dust in the slumber room. She said since I don't have to breathe, I won't fall asleep. Do I not breathe? I need to get some water from one of the nearby rivers for Lexi. It has to be the right river, but aren't the rivers twins? Which one is in fact right? Opti needs me to carry the giant enchanted sponge to the bubble room. Then, Ryan and I will throw the sponge into the well and make sure it soaks up the water. Then, Bastrop will fly up to the floating shelves to get more of the rainbow soap. Then, Bubba uses water magic to flow the rainbow soap into all of the holes of the wet sponge. Then, Ebab Flow uses their magic to keep the bubbles from floating away entirely. That is a lot of work for Bubbles. Finally, the last task. Judgment Day needs me to go to the top of the nearby mountain and slay a phoenix. Bring back all of its feathers for the sauna. I wonder if Brother knows what a phoenix is. I should ask him.